All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live trading session on the 5ers Futures channel. I'm your host, Dave. And as usual, we're going to find out what we can trade today, what we can get into. Remember to like the stream, it helps us a lot. Drop a comments. Let me know where you're watching us from, what you're trading. Ask me any question you want, and I will do my best to answer. I hope you're having a great week. So let's get into these charts. All right. Today is hopefully going to be a very interesting trading day, just like yesterday. Yesterday we had a great setup that I entered correctly in the morning, but was not able to follow through. I did follow through in the afternoon, so we'll have a look at that in a second. What we're looking at right now is the NQ, the Nasdaq. You guys know I am primarily a Nasdaq trader, but we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at gold. We're going to look at oil, and we will see what setups we can find. We'll look at the ES as well. So don't be shy, guys. All right, we got Harris Jakar back on the stream. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Hello to everyone watching from India. You guys are always welcome. You guys know every Monday, well, every other Monday, sorry, Samir, who's from India, also helps me, manage the stream and trades alongside me. So it's always a good thing to see people watching from India. All right, guys. So we're looking at the NQ right now. We had a massive move yesterday, which took a while to develop on the NQ. Let me just put this like that. You'll see it. But from 9:30, where we dipped, which we actually caught, we bought the dip yesterday. Unfortunately, we didn't hold long enough. But we had a massive 420 point move. So that was very interesting. And that was into the close. That was at 4 o'clock. So you just had to buy that dip, hold, the whole day, and you would have been able to capture a good 400 points yesterday. And then the ES also developed quite well. We had really nice trend up as well. You had, that dip yesterday, and then an initial really nice move of about 47 points, then a nice pullback, and then another about 68 point move on the ES. So that was also a great move. We are definitely conquering those all-time highs, making a new all-time high every other day. So we're gonna see how we can approach these trades, and then all right, we got Greg Jenkins back in the house. Grand morning to you as well. I don't know if you were able to catch any trades yesterday, but we're gonna see what we can get into today. All right, let me take some notes here. 1 second. Just writing down a few things I need to remember. And if you haven't liked the stream, guys, remember to like. It really helps us out. All right. Now that I got my notes down, we can begin. Okay, so we're going to start with the indices. Actually, I have the ES right here. So I'll show you guys how I do my analysis really quickly. So we'll go into the 1 hour, and we're gonna start everything here from the indices on Black Arrow, our trading platform. You've been looking at oil. Okay, we're gonna look at oil in a sec. Let's just do a quick run through of the ES and NQ, and then we'll look at oil, and finally we'll look at gold, which has been printing green. So if you've been able to catch this trade, good on you. All right, so let's look at the daily really quickly. So as we could see, yesterday we had a very nice green day, right? So we could use yesterday's close as a reference support level. We will Now zoom down to the 4-hour. We have a nice uptrend going on here. All right, so the first thing I try to do is find support and resistance levels, right? Key support level is going to be yesterday's close, which I have highlighted in blue here. So we could drop down to an hourly. Let's reset this. All right. Let's make this a little smaller. So the daily close from yesterday is about here. Let me just double check and make sure. Daily. All right, daily close was 73.86. So very good. We are at 73.86. Drop down to a 15-minute. All right, so that's going to be a level of interest for us, right? That 73.86 area. And then the main top level, which we will be interested in, is this this top here. Now we have our level of inflection where we turn down from, which is right here. So we can clearly see that this was prior support, turned into resistance, and move lower. So that gives us key information. And then we have another level of interest, which is right here. That prior resistance here, that turned into resistance again, which we broke out from. We then found support here. It's pretty clear. And then we're here. So now we found our level of interest, and we're going to go now to the speed of price. And as you guys know, I always switch to a line chart where I could see clearly what the trend is. So we're going to get some trend lines going right now. We can see that this is a clear trend, right? And I usually like to get the meat of the move, and then I'll modify my my trend lines. So this was the speed of price yesterday as we climbed up, right? This was the channel we oscillated in. We broke out from that, moved lower, and then you know, kind of find our levels here. So these two peaks become interesting to me. So what we can do now is have what we would consider our resistance area, right? So now we can go back to the chart. Speed of price today. So this level, so we could just drag here, maintain the same speed, and you can see it lines up directly with yesterday's level. So what does that tell me? Well, what it tells me is that I need to be looking at intersections, right? And the intersections between levels. So this level is going to be a level of interest if we reach there, right? Because we have the speed of the price intersecting with this. We have this intersecting with this. So this level right here, this horizontal support level, which was previously a resistance level, is going to be a key area of interest for me today, right? So we're looking at, okay, what kind of setups can we get? Can we push lower, hold above this line, maybe oscillate, consolidate here, and break out to the upside? And if we do break out, then these two levels become areas we need to look at. Or if it's a false breakout and we push lower, will we find support in this area? So that's one way we could approach it, and we can measure and see, okay, how much of a distance is that? This is about 6 points, this is about 15 points, and about 9 points here. So this is a tight range in comparison to yesterday. So we will see how we oscillate inside of there. But for the ES, that's more or less what we're looking at right now. All right, we could restart this. And then once we open, as usual, you guys know I like to have my opening range, which gives us a reference on where and how to take our trades. So we'll see. All right, Greg saying, how do you use the speed of price? All right, it's not very clear here, so I'm going to switch over to the Nasdaq and other things, and I'll show you how to use it. But basically, when you're looking at a trend, what you're looking at is, okay, how fast is price moving? When the price is moving basically the logic behind it is what? The slower the price is moving, the more the trend can last. The faster the price is moving, the less that trend is sustainable, and we're bound to have a reversion to the mean, right? So let me just show you a quick example. Okay. So for example, let's say we have a trend, and the trend is like this, right? So that's the start of the trend. And then we break out of the trend, and then we get a secondary trend like this. And then we break out of that trend again, and then we get a trend like this. So here we would have three levels of speed. We would have speed 1, which is usually called the primary trend, right? So right here, price is moving slowly. Then we would have speed 2. That becomes this, more or less. Whoa, sorry. Becomes this, more or less, right? And then let me just put this in another color so you could see. So we'll put this maybe green. Oh, sorry. Speed 2. And then we have speed 3, which would be this. So we'll put this in, I don't know, pink, so you could see it better. And then these are all channels, right? So what happens once price breaks out of this? So we have the slower speed of price, then it accelerates, and then it accelerates again, right? Level one is very sustainable, which means that you could keep this speed going forever, right? The price could keep doing this forever. Why? Because it's slow and it's sustainable. It's like, for example, if I could make an analogy, running a marathon. You can run at a certain amount of speed. So let's say you're running at, and your heartbeat is 140 beats per minute or 120 beats, or maybe you're just jogging. Well, you could jog for a long time, or better analogy, you could walk for a long time. Potentially, you could walk for a whole day without ever stopping, right? If you're in decent shape, you could walk for a long time. So let's say this would be walking speed, the first one. Now, the second one, the second speed, so we'll put this in yellow. This way you could see it. So this would be considered walking speed in yellow. Then you have jogging speed, which would be the second speed here. That can be sustained for a while as well. So basically we could keep going right here. We could keep going, but we can't go as far, and we can't sustain this for a very, very long time. Meaning we could walk for a day, but maybe we could run for a certain amount of hours, but we can't keep running for the whole day, right? And then the last one, this one, we could call it here, we could call this sprinting. Well, you could sprint for, at best, minutes. Usually it's seconds, right? So the idea is what? The idea is we want to determine how fast is price moving in order to find trades. So if we're looking at this, for example, we would potentially be looking for longs. Why? Because if the price is moving slowly, then we could keep going. Well, we're going to enter long here. But if on the other hand, we are looking at here a very, fast speed of price, the idea is that this is not sustainable. So eventually price needs to revert back to the mean. So we need to break down and go test these levels first, and then possibly go test these levels after, right? So if we're looking at trades here, we're going to be looking short. Why? Because this is too fast. So it's like we're sprinting. We need to eventually slow down to a running speed and possibly down to a walking speed. So if we're shorting here, our first targets would be to catch up to here, right? And then once we catch up to here, we would potentially be looking to follow through all the way back to walking speed. Now, this is walking speed and sprinting speed. The thing that happens in the middle ground is we are not sure how long we can run from. Some people can run for minutes, some people can run from hours. So there you would be trading in what is usually called a range before you eventually break out, right? So walking speed, we're looking for longs. Fast speed, sprinting speed, we're looking for shorts. And then the middle range here, we are looking either way, right? We're looking for things that make sense, and this is where you're going to find your range trades. And this is why I'm always looking at trends and trying to find trends to kind of see, okay, how fast is price moving? This way I can decide whether I want to go long or whether I want to go short. So I hope that helps, and we'll get back to that. So here we had a few examples. We have, for example, this here would be considered sprinting speed because we can't sustain this for too long. This is why you had a reversion here. And then you could see that. So if I trace a line, this sprinting speed here is faster than this running speed here. And then once we got the running speed, we needed to slow down and go back to walking speed. So now we need to find out, what is price going to do? Is it going to sprint again? Is it going to run again, or is it going to walk again? All right. So we are getting closer to the open. This is the ES. Now let's take a quick look at the Nasdaq. So we have a similar, I did my levels on the Nasdaq really quickly. I'm just going to change these colors. All right, so this is my inflection area. So we'll get back to that in a few, but same scenario here as the ES. We have, let me look at the levels really quickly on the 15. This is our trend here. And then we have our breakout levels right here. On reality, this is the breakout level. And then this would be considered. So we could definitely possibly break out from there. This would align with this wick right there. So we had a first breakout, but it's been a false breakout. So we want to find out, okay, can we break out from here and go test these levels, which would form kind of a cup and handle pattern? There will probably be some kind of pullback there, and then we go and test higher if we're going to have that bullish scenario, right? So where price is going to accelerate. If we're not going to have that, then we probably would have a fake breakout here. This would act as a resistance level. So fake breakout here. This acts as resistance. We pull back, and then maybe we continue higher, or maybe we need to oscillate lower and go test these levels here. So we'll see what happens. Let me just look at how much of a range that is. So it's about 80 points, almost 100 points. So we'll see what happens there. So that's what we have for the Nasdaq. All right, we got JPMA. Hola, hola, ¿cómo está usted? JPMA is in the chat. Welcome back. We're taking a look at the Nasdaq right now. So we're going to see if that can be sustained. So far, bulls are looking to push price higher. So we'll see what we can get. All right, now that we got our levels ready and we got this out of the way, since either way I'll be waiting for the first 15 minutes before I take my trade, we're going to switch over and look at oil and gold, right? So I'm going to switch over and switch to trading view. Since I have gold loaded up here, we are at a very, very interesting level on gold. So this is, let me get this level out of the way. Let me reset this. All right, so this is gold on a daily chart, right? I got Justin here. Good morning, good morning. The boxes are coming. We have time. You guys know I wait for the first 15 before taking the trade. So I'm not seeing the time. I need to reset my bar here. I got it disappearing. Give me 1 second. Let me fix this. The boxes are coming, Justin. Don't worry. Boxes are coming very, very soon. And guys, remember to like. Remember to like the stream. It helps us a lot. Boxes are coming soon, man. Yeah, not much movement. We only have an 80-point range on the Nasdaq, and we barely saw 10 points on the ES. So we're gonna let them cook, like the youngins say, and then we'll get back to them. I just want to take a quick look at gold, especially for you, Justin. I know you're a gold trader, so let's take a look. It's been printing green for the past 3 days, and we are almost at a area of inflection or contention, whatever you want to call it, because we broke out here, and I told you guys no man's land is between 4750 and about 40, just below 5000, right? This area here inside this range is going to be kind of a decision making point, or to where we decide, okay, are we completely bullish, where we go and break out. So we basically basing my trend here on the previous wicks, and Greg looking at the speed of price, right? You see how we moved fast here, so this could be considered sprinting speed, and then we slowed down. Are we going to make another sprint like we had here back in January? So we want to find out, okay, are we going to break out, continue higher, and continue fast? Once we reach, if we reach that higher level, that is, of course, we're talking about the period of days. If we reach that level, that 5,100 level, which is my inflection point, if we're able to break above this, I think we just continue to print higher, and we probably slow down. But this would mean that we're very bullish on gold, and then everybody is running back to the safe haven asset. But for the day, for today, what we're looking at is, okay, can we go and retest this prior resistance? So that is about 60-point move. So 50 to 60 points. Can we go and retest this area, right? So having that in mind, let's zoom in into the hourlies directly and go look at that. Now, you guys remember yesterday we talked about, let's just zoom in. Let's go directly to the 5-minute chart. Yesterday, what did we talk about? I remember Justin taking a trade, taking about 4,700, and then going, I think you were long about here. You captured about 15 points. And I told you guys, well, once we reach this area here, we would need to consider, maybe scaling out or completely exiting the trades. Well, that's what happened. We pulled back, right? And kind of moved sideways for a while, and finally now we're back to this area, and we're trying to break above it. If I drag it, you can see that this is the almost exact middle of the range. So can we break out of this range, right? Since we found support here, can we break out of this range, not let it be a false breakout like we had 1, 2, 3 times? Can we pull back and continue to oscillate higher? And if we do, since this is a longer term level, this could probably be sustained and held about 50 to 60 points higher if it is sustained. Now, we have to keep in mind we're approaching the weekend. That's about 4,800 and some change. Yeah, you're looking for the breakout, Justin, and just keep in mind, since I know you're a gold trader, just keep in mind that things might take longer to develop on gold. The tricky thing about gold is that it takes a while to coil, and get going. The problem is once it gets going, it just goes. So, for example, if we look at that breakout here, right? It took a while. It took a while to develop. You had, if you were looking for the breakout right here or even here, right? You could have considered that, okay, this breakout took about 1 to 3 days to develop, and then we got it. because it faked out here. Of course, you could have caught this nice move. We thought we were going to get it here, and it took a while to develop. Then we pulled back and finally took off. So this one might be a little bit more subdued before it really takes off. Just keep that in mind. But we'll see. We'll see how it reacts to the open. Greg said, looks like gold hit the fair value gap. Okay, fair value gap, but fair value gap, this at what, on the hourly or on the 4 hour? Which one are you talking about? Let me see something really quickly here. All right. Yeah. So we want to keep in mind, if we get that breakout, then awesome. That's probably going to be a good one. Just let it develop. Let it make sure we have a small little trend here that could be a guide for us, right? So if we're able to hold this trend, this yellow line here, kind of around here, right? So your entries should probably be around this area, risking the prior lows if you're going to take the long. So we might get another fake out, probably oscillate back in there, find a double bottom, and then we could probably take off if it takes a while to coil. So as long as you're respecting kind of this little trend here that's ongoing, right? If you're respecting this, then you're fine. If you break below it, so let me just put this line in yellow so it's clearer. 1 second, let's change the color. Yeah, if you are unable to break here and you break below this trend line and probably go lower, then you'll probably have to wait and rethink your strategy. So we'll see what gold does. We'll see if it gives us a clean setup. So we'll see. All right, we got BTC USD. Awesome name, man. BTC USD. That's awesome. Let's look at the hourlies. All right, Greg Jenkins saying the hourlies. Greg saying looks like gold hit the FEG. FEG. Yeah, we're gonna wait to see how this develops, because this whole area is no man's land for now until we could get out of there. All right, let's take a quick look at oil. We have 2 minutes before the open. So oil, this is the gap I've been looking at forever, this yellow box here. So again, Greg, if you look at the speed of price that I was talking about, this is an example. You see this fast up move is not sustainable forever. We kind of have to, go back to earth. And then we moved lower. We're continuing to move lower. We found support here. So we want to see, okay, is oil going to keep pushing lower? And this is inversely correlated with the indices. If oil pushes lower, then we're going to get a continued move to the upside. So as oil has been pulling back, the indices and gold safe haven has been pushing upward. So we want to see, okay, can this continue? Now, I think oil, if it's going to continue to push lower, has a lot of room to go retest this pocket of support here around the 80, 88, 86s. So we'll see if that happens or not. But if real support was around here at around the $90 area, then we might get a retest of this area. We might get a retest of those 92s, or even possibly the 95, 96s. If we get that push higher, then that would mean that we will definitely see a pullback on the indices. So we'll see. Let me just take a quick look at the dollar. All right, dollar behaving, pushing down a little bit. So weak dollar is going to be an indication for us. Dollar has been getting weaker for the past month, more or less. We had a nice move up there and then a pullback. So we'll see what happens. Let me put them side by side. Put the NQ next to the dollar so we could see. Okay, so interesting take here. We are exactly so just inversely correlated as well. Weak dollar is going to mean a stronger index. This is the NQ. The idea is what? The idea is if your dollars are not worth much, you want to invest them to keep their value. So that's basically the idea behind how a weak dollar affects the indices. Also, if someone speaks, oil will definitely move up or down. Yeah, if someone speaks, actually, I'm going to pull up my news and put it next to me here so I could see in real time what's going on. Let me just put the news tab here. Okay, we've opened. So let me just open Black Arrow to see how we're behaving. All right, NQ reset. So we're seeing selling. We're inside no man's land still. So we don't want to be taking, I don't want to be taking any trades inside this zone. But we're definitely seeing selling here. Inflection point is around 28,712. So we'll see what we do. And then let's put this on a higher time frame, 15-minute, to see what we get. I didn't double check. Let me check if there's news today. 8:30 non-farm. I think we have non-farm tomorrow. Non-farm payrolls. Oh no, we got the unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls tomorrow. So that's going to affect us. You just need to keep in mind that we're seeing positioning today in relation to the economic news that's going to happen tomorrow, right? Sometimes when there's positioning, we could see a lot of sideways consolidation, a lot of sideways action, especially if we had a very, very long trend day yesterday. So we'll see what happens today. We're going to be patient and wait for setups. How much of the Middle East affects oil, if that makes sense? Well, the situation in the Middle East is affecting oil a lot. That is the whole reason why oil has been moving. So the more uncertainty, basically the logic is what? The more uncertainty, it's not that simple, but that's how you need to kind of frame it. The more there's uncertainty in the Middle East, the higher the price of oil is going to go. The more there's conflicts in the Middle East, the higher the price of oil is going to go, because it is a supply shock. Basically, if you have less of a product available, but there is a high level of demand, so a lot of people need it, then the price is going to go up, right? So that's what we're going to wait on. All right, we see the indices breaking out. We Justin saying gold is breaking out. So let's take a quick look at gold. Let me put gold up here. Gold. Breaking out. All right, that's the breakout we've been looking for. Nice. So what you could do here, and this is not financial advice, but if depending on your size, the size you're trading, you can scale in, right? You could scale in this way. If it runs away from you, you don't completely lose the trade. You could scale in. But I usually like to wait for a pullback. So usually I'll take the breakout, scale in, have a wider stop, wait for the pullback, add on the pullback, and then continue higher, depending on how the pullback acts. Because if it's a fake out, then you get a small loss, right? If it runs away from you, then you capture part of the move. So it's gonna see. All right, just in saying you should see if a pullback holds before you long. All right, very good. That's the right approach. Definitely agree with you there that we'll wait for the pullback. Now, if we're looking at the Nasdaq really quick, we have this all at this area of liquidity here, all right, which is an area where shorts might be looking to enter. So again, we're going to be waiting for price to build, waiting to see how is big money trying to position itself before we take our trades. Justin saying that's a good layering. Yeah, it's better to layer your trades, right? The more size you could trade with, the easier it is, because let's say, for example, if you're trading micros and you want to get in with 10 micros, then well, getting just with just one here is not going to hurt you a lot, even two. But if your size is much smaller and you're just trading with 1 or 2 micros, like I'm doing here because of the size of the account, then you have to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more strict on your entries. So let's wait and see. So yeah, definitely we're seeing some selling here, some selling pressure. So let's wait and see what setups we can get. I want to look at oil. That means that oil is probably giving us that push towards this area here. Now remember, this here is the gap that we had a few days ago, and that's been a very interesting area for me. And we have a little downtrend going on in oil right here, right? And this is possibly a level we could try to break out from and go test. So if we get that push up on oil, that's going to be bearish for the indices. So we'll see what we could get. Can we hold this? This would be a nice possible long if I was trading oil. So let's see. Yeah, Justin saying you don't miss out and remove FOMO. Very good, very good. Yeah, if you scale in, it removes the FOMO and puts your your reality in check really quickly. So that's why sometimes I like scaling in. And then the other thing I like to do, and I showed it yesterday, is I'll enter counter, or was it yesterday or the day before? I'll have a long in mind, but it's an area that is not very clearly. So I'll enter the opposite trade. And that's a check in my favor to where, okay, yes or no, your trade is working out or it's not. All right. So you see, we're kind of no man's land. We're kind of trying to find here right now on the indices what we want to do. Let me switch to, okay, maybe that was the pullback, but I don't necessarily want to scale in yet. I still want to be patient. I'm still going to wait. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm just looking at some other data here for my trades. I haven't pulled up the news. Let me pull up the news to see if we have anything going on. I got the Squawk Box. So nothing here. We just have Iran that claimed control over the Strait of Hormuz shipping. So nothing super. I mean, now this news, I mean, Iran speaking is not huge news. So we'll see. Okay, so we're definitely trying to break out. Let me get my bracket going 1-to-1. So we're going to try scaling in. Early trade. This is what I was talking about, where I don't want this to run away from me. So we'll see. And then if I'm wrong here and if I get stopped out, then that means the bulls are not as aggressive as I thought, right? So we'll see what we can get. We got story drop here. Hi, hello. Let us know where you're watching us from. What are you trading? What you want to get into? Let us know. Okay, so this is a feeler trade. I like to feel the index. This has been what? This has been about 50-point move. So looking good so far. And if this is going to be a breakout, then we won't miss it. So doing what I talked about, where you enter the trade and you are able to handle FOMO because the asset is not moving against you, and if it I mean is not leaving you, and if it does move the opposite way, then you just have information there with that loss. So we just bought the breakout. We're going to see, is it going to be a breakout or a fake out? But we just bought exactly at the level of resistance. So if it's going to be a breakout, then it's going to go, and it's going to go fast. If it's not a breakout, then it's going to pull back. So that's totally fine. Let's wait and see. Greg saying, can I tell you how to determine the lot size since you're being conservative this time? Okay, it's going to depend on the size of your account, right? And it's also going to depend on how do you trade. What are your stats? What is your win rate? How much are you able to risk per trade? So I'll give you some hints based on how I trade. Okay, we're seeing some selling pressure here, which is expected. So that's fine. I just want to see, can this hold? Yeah, so let's talk to Greg while this trade is developing. So what you want to determine is, what are your stats? For example, me on average, I am a 50-50 trader. Okay, so I'm right half the time and wrong half the time. So with that in mind, I want to have a decent risk reward on my trades. By decent, I mean I have to get more than a 1.2 to be profitable. So I'm always aiming to get 1.5 or more on my trades, or I'm trying to lose the least amount of the least amount possible on my trades. So let's say you get a 25K account from the 5ers, right? If you have the 25K account, then that means your stop is 3%, your before you blow up the account, and you have $750 to risk, right? So let me just pull up a calculator here, and we're going to do it together. You have $750 worth of risk. Okay. You need to know, on average, how many trades do you take before you're profitable? For me, based on my stats, it's between 5 and 7 losses in a row. So on a very, very bad streak or bad period, I'll take 7 losing trades back to back, which is pretty bad and doesn't happen very often. But on average, I'll take maybe 3 or 4 trades, maximum 5 that are wrong before I switch over. So if you know, okay, I have 750 bucks. I could take maybe 5 trades that are wrong. Well, that means that, let's say I want to divide this by 10 trades. So I divided this by 10. That means that if I'm going to take 10 trades and I'm going to be wrong on half of them, then, my risk per trade should be about 75 bucks, right? Because worst case scenario, I'm going to take 5 or even 7 trades before I can kind of get back on the horse, gradually break even. So I'm giving myself the best chance to be profitable. But that is based on my stats, being right half the time and considering a basket of 10 trades, right? But if your stats are different, so for example, if you have a 90% win rate, which is, well, let's be more realistic. Let's say you have a 70% win rate, which means you're right 7 times out of 3, right? And then your risk to reward is even better. It's like 3 to 1. Well, maybe you could risk more. Maybe you can risk double what I'm risking. You could risk, so I say 100 bucks, more or less, 50 points, and I'm about to get stopped out, by the way. This way, what this tells me that the selling pressure is on and probably oil is moving up. So we'll keep that in mind. So yeah, if you are right more often, then you could probably take more risk per trade. So that's going to depend on you. Now, if you want to give yourself even more chances, then maybe you don't give yourself 10 trades, you give yourself 20 trades. So that's about 40 bucks per trade. Now, what's going to happen here is you're not going to be able to trade an instrument like the Nasdaq, because if you're risking 40 bucks per trade, you need you need an asset that moves a lesser amount of points. So maybe you're going to trade the Dow where your risk is lower, or you're going to trade the ES where you don't have to take as much risk, right? So what you would do there is pick an asset where you can risk less per trade, right? Sellers have entered. All right, we just took our first loss here. Sellers definitely selling around that pocket of resistance, and this is a confirmed false breakout. That is perfect. So now we have information. Now what we want to see is, okay, can we, this is our range, by the way. Let's do our box for Justin. First 15 minutes. Let's get the box going. I'm going to put it pink as usual. I think I even have, we're going to write the text. Man, look at how it reacted cleanly off of my level here. You see that yellow level? That's the inflection point. That means the long might be still on. So we're going to wait. Maybe I took an early trade there. All right, so first 15 minutes is here. And then this is our halfway point. Keep it in pink as well. All right, so what we want to see here, based on the range, is how are we going to react to this area? So if we tried to break out, it was a fake out, we confirmed it, we took the loss, and so it's confirmed that, okay, longs are not yet very active. I don't really want to trade inside the box, except if I see something that makes sense. So what we want to see is once we reach that halfway point there, which is right below that pocket of resistance, that's on the 1 minute, can we just go retest and maybe move lower? Or if we do get a breakdown, then we break down here, and then we want to see, can we get a pullback to enter short, right? And that would be our short trade. If we do enter short, then our target is basically that blue area right there, which lines up correctly with 1 standard deviation of this, right? So actually might even try the breakdown. We'll see. But we're seeing buying here, so we're gonna wait, we're gonna be patient to see what we can get. But sorry, Greg, I took a long time to answer your question. So the lot size, the lot size is gonna be determined by the winning chunk changes for the birds. Okay, I mean, hey, it depends. If you want to go big and like, you know, risk huge amounts, that's totally fine. But my experience says you start small, you gradually scale up, and you're going to be surprised at how fast you can scale an account. I don't know if you've ever heard that analogy, but if you double a penny every day, after 30 days, it becomes a million, right? So, sorry, is this a penny? Yeah, it's a penny. If you double it every day, after a while, it becomes a million. So if you want to start small, that's probably the best recommendation I could give you. But again, I mean, it's your money. You can determine and do whatever you want to do. I would recommend you start small. You kind of find your ground here. You don't need to waste too much buying a bunch of accounts. And then you scale up, because you could scale up pretty fast. Believe me, I've I've been there. You get some water here. It's going to be chunk change at the beginning, but then it's going to be real money very fast. And by the way, to anybody saying that, you know, I don't know where I heard that, but somebody's saying that, you know, making a couple $100 in a day is nothing. Well, guess what? The average job in the States pays at best $200 a day, right? $200 a day is about $50,000 a year. So if that's what you're making in a day, you're making more than the average American. And 200 bucks a day almost everywhere in the world is a pretty good salary to start off, right? So 200 bucks a day is $1,000 a week, is $4,000 a month. If you're starting there, trust me, that is not bad money, and then that can balloon up pretty fast. Trust me. All right, so we're seeing buyers being aggressive here, holding the low of the range. We're being patient. Justin saying, if you're consistent, yeah, indeed, yeah. And then here's the crazy thing. If you add just 100 bucks, so if you go from 200 to 300 bucks, well, that becomes $6,000 a month. So automatically we could so let's do it like this, right? There's about 250 trading days in the year. You do 200 bucks a day, that's 50,000. But if you do 300 bucks a day by 250 bucks, that's 75,000, right? You only need to make double that, which is 400 bucks a day by 250 days to make six figures, right? Trust me, there are not a lot of people making six figures around the world. Don't believe what you see in the internet. So just 400 bucks a day is six figures. You could call it chump change if you want, but 400 bucks a day is a very respectable amount of money to make, right? And anybody who's making six figures is much more well off than anybody else in the world. So I suggest anybody trading, and on top of that, if you're not doing this full time, you're doing this on the side, so you have your salary, right? And you're making this additional, even if you make 50 bucks a day, right? That's an extra 12 grand a year. All right. You could do a lot with 12 grand a year. As a matter of fact, I remember the average salary. I'm going to look at that and I want to give that information. Well, I can't remember what the average salary around the world is, but it was a very low number. So I'm looking at it right now. Average salary. There you go. The average salary. Let me just take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. Let's put it here. The average global personal income is $12,000 per year. This is crazy. So that's $1,000 a month. If you make 50 bucks a day, you're making more than the average salary around the world. All right. So I know we're not in here to talk about those numbers, but this is the reality of trading. Don't let social media fool you. Okay. That's why here you don't see us flashing Ferraris and showing you fake stuff. You see the real wins, you see the real losses, you see real trading from real traders. All right. JPMSA 73.90 ES to short. All right, let's look at the ES real quick. Oh man, we missed it. Woo! Remember I showed you that trend line this morning? That was a nice short. I miss it. I keep missing those ES trades because I'm too focused on the Nasdaq. I'm gonna have to look at both. 73.90. Yeah, that was a good level, around 7,300. How many points is that? I was blabbering about how much money you can make in a day, and I missed the actual trade that could have made us money. All right, we got Arthava in the chat saying, what should be my risk management if I have negative risk reward, like 2 to 1 for 25K futures and 70-80% win rate? Okay, what should be your risk management if you have negative risk to reward, but a 25% win rate? All right, so we have to kind of approach this mathematically. All right, I'm going to answer the question. I just want to go back to the Nasdaq. We're breaking out. Okay, so we'll wait for a pullback. So basically, you see what it's doing right now is what I was waiting for, and that's why it's recommended to wait for a pullback. The runaway here. So we'll wait for a pullback. We're at a resistance level. Hopefully we get a pullback to the 50% area here or above our opening range. But it's probably going to take a while, or it's going to run away from me. So we'll be patient. But I want to answer Arthava's question here. So give me 1 second. And here we're going to look at expected value. All right. Expected value is what is going to determine mathematically what you can expect. So give me just 1 second here. JPM may say dealers are short gamma, amplifies moves. Yeah, I didn't look at the GEX levels, unfortunately, today. We're going to look at them really quickly. So what I'm seeing here with, okay, so let's do the math together. Right? You have a 75% win rate, right? And then you have negative risk to reward, right? So in order for you to be profitable, let's look at that means your EV is going to be about 0.25 R to 0.4 R per trade. So if you're risking, for example, 150 bucks per trade, that means that you are going to be making, so 0.4, that's 60 bucks per trade, 150 by 0.25, that's 30. All right. So in order to be profitable, you need to make at least, I would say, 75 bucks per trade in order to be profitable, right? If, of course, these are actual stats. So with negative risk to reward, it's definitely possible for you to be profitable. But what I would say is give yourself at least 10 trades to be right. So what I usually do is I'll take and that depends if you're a scalper. If you're taking 10 trades in a day, well, that's more complicated. But I would give myself with 750 bucks divided by 10, I would give myself about 10 trades to be right, which means you're risking 150 to make 75, but you need to be right a lot in order to pass. So I think the most you should risk per trade, the most should be between, for a 25K account, should be between 100 and 150 bucks, right? If it's 100 bucks after 3 trades, I would stop because you've already basically lost almost half of the account. All right, we're getting that pullback. I kind of want to scale in right here. Maybe we're going to wait a little bit more. Put this on a 5-minute. Maybe we'll wait for 10 o'clock. Yeah, let's give this a little bit more time. We tapped into resistance here, and that's a good short entry possibly. Let's look at the ES. Maybe the ES is going to give more follow through to the downside. You could possibly short those highs and continue lower. We have that level here. So I want to see how we react to this level. If we pull back, and so different setups I'm looking for. If we're able to go lower, hold above this level, then we're looking for a long. And if we're not able to do that and we are, so here, if we retest that level and move lower, then I'll be looking for a short. So we'll see. And that will probably be a quick scalp. Let's just wait and see what we get. Greg saying you're looking to convert from truck driving to a trader. No problem. How long have you been trading, Greg? Because here's the reality. It takes a lot longer than one might think. Pullback, breakout. This could have been the possible entry. We're gonna wait. I want to see how they react to this level again. Can we break above it? If we can break above it, then definitely the longs are winning. If we can't break above it, remember I talked about this cup and handle possible pattern yesterday. That's kind of what we're getting here, but we're reaching those highs again. So we'll see what we get. Let me see which level. Let me see if I could find those GEX levels. $7,400. Okay, they're selling from here. Let's just put this and then put my bracket 1 to 1. All right. Oh. So 7,400 is a level on the ES. We're seeing some buying here, which is a good indication for us. I didn't look at the Dow. All right, let's look at, woof, man, what a sell-off on the Russell. Buyers are really pushing high, but we'll see how we react to those levels. How much displacement did we get? Let's see. 80. Oh, we're still under 100 points. So there's still plenty of room for our trades. We're trying to break this level here, but we're seeing a sustained selling. Just looking at the gamma exposure here for the S&P 500. As soon as you start getting profitable in trading, off the road you go. I wouldn't do it really quickly, Greg. I would keep some money on the side. I would take my time because here's the funny thing about trading, and I've been through this. You could be profitable for 6 months, and then you have a 6-month period where you're just not making any money and you're struggling. So that's why I asked you, how long have you been trading? It takes longer than one might think. All right, looks like we're breaking out. This was probably the pullback here. Just want to see since there's liquidity. So let's look at the volume profile here. So right here, this is a low volume node where we're either going to break out from, or we're going to see some selling in a deeper pullback. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens there. Let's look for gold, and then on oil, you know, this might be the pullback where it moves higher. So we'll see what we get. Just going to be patient here. Let's look at gold. So gold still inside no man's land, trying to, so again, we got a false breakout on gold. You see how this morning I told you, wait, be patient, because this might be a false breakout. We broke out again, pulled back. We're back inside no man's land, and maybe that's going to be the pullback that oscillates higher, but we're not in a hurry. Let's go back to the ES. ES going back to the mean here, kind of mean reversion trade. So we might find a better opportunity on the ES today. Let me see something. I have an indicator built for this. Back to the 50%. ES is looking better, in my opinion, than the Nasdaq. So we might take the trades on the ES. All right, Nasdaq breaking out. We've conquered these highs, so we'll switch to the ES since we're closer. It gives us a better area to risk off of, right? We're risking these lows. So now we've entered, and what we'll do is we'll hold, we'll wait for a pullback, and then add to our position. Just a year on and off, mainly binary options. Okay. It's gonna take a while before you can make a living from this, Greg. So what I would say is, keep that truck driving job, and I think trading definitely makes sense. But it's going to take a lot of work and a while before you can make a full-time living off of this. So what I would suggest is keep trading on the side, keep your steady income. This way you don't have the stress of making money trading, right? Then you prove to yourself that you can actually make an income from this. Once you start to make an income, you leave at least 2 years of savings on the side. And then you can, once you've proven to yourself that you could be profitable for at least a whole year, then you can, and you of course have money on the side, then you can transition to trading full-time. That would be my recommendation. So you're talking about a 2 to 3 to 4 year process at best, right? So think about it like this. If one goes to university, to college, that's about a 4 year degree, right? Let's say you do it very fast, you do it in 3 years. Well, it takes you about 3 years to get that knowledge, but then you have to put it in practice. So basically, actually, you know what? Let's talk about truck driving. How long did it take you to become a proficient truck driver, right? I don't know how long driving school takes, but I would say, what is it? 3 months, 6 months? Let me know in the chat. Anyways, we're long the ES for now. Because the ES is offering a better setup, we have a clear level to risk off of, right? And hopefully we kind of get a move, a pullback, and then we can add to that position and go target those prior highs if that's going to be the play today. If we don't get that, then that's totally fine. We'll see what we get. Now, 7,400 is a key level. Okay, you said 1 month is driver training. Okay, perfect. But that is assuming you already know how to drive a car, right? You're not starting from scratch. So when you learn to drive, first of all, you have to know how to drive. Basically, they're not going to teach you how to drive a car. They're going to how to drive in general. They're going to teach you how to drive a truck. So first thing you do is you need to know how to drive. That takes a few months. Like I taught my my children how to drive, and I would say at best for them to become comfortable, get on the road, whatever, at best it takes about 6 months. Okay, so 6 months, and then you've been driving for a while. You go to driving school. So you're talking with that additional month, 7 months just to know how to drive the truck. On top of that, you need experience driving the truck because school is not going to teach you everything. Okay, so you go to school. So I would say driving, you take a whole year to get decent at being a truck driver. So it's the same thing with trading. You're not gonna discover this, in 3 to 6 months. It's gonna take a while. So I would give myself at least 3 years before I quit the driving job and go trading full time. Unless you're a prodigy, and you could do this. I would, realistically give myself a few years, have some savings on the side. This way, your bills are paid. You don't have to worry about it. And then once you prove yourself, you could be profitable for a whole year, right? Then you move on. Because the thing is with trading is that there's going to be periods where you're break even. There's going to be periods where you're negative, right? You might be profitable for 6 months. Then you spend a month where you're break even, and then you spend the next month where you're actually making profit again. Well, what happens during that month where you're not making profit and you're break even doesn't mean your trading is bad. Actually, a break even month in trading is a good month. You didn't make money, but you didn't lose money. But what happens when you have to pay your bills? That month where you break even, you still have to pay bills. So that's why you need an extra thing on the side. And then, eventually, gradually, you become really profitable where you're not just making 200 bucks a day. You're probably making your whole monthly expenses in the day. So then that makes sense. And then the other recommendation is hopefully you don't have just trading as a source of income. You have trading as an extra source of income, and you have other sources also. So because trading is very stressful, so removing that stress is important. All right, so we're long the ES. We're waiting. We're long inside this area here. So we're gonna see what happens. So yesterday, the it's funny how we're choosing the wrong assets, but yesterday the asset to trade was the ES. Today, the Nasdaq is really taking off, making new all-time highs. We unfortunately were not. We didn't. I didn't catch that pullback, which was probably the best entry for that opening range breakout. We are at that prior high, so that would have been a nice target. So we'll see if we can get it on the ES instead. Struggling a little bit there. It's just going to be one of those longer term holds because my target is going to be this previous area of resistance here. So hopefully we get a move up, a retest of this area, a pullback, we can add, and then we go, maybe form some kind of pattern like this where we can test these highs again. All right. So while this builds, we'll let it do what it does. We're going to look at the other assets. Let's look at gold. Gold. Actually, I want to look at micro gold. Okay, gold trying to move up. Let's switch to here. Yes, pulling back. Where's gold? All right, this is gold. All right, well, that was the pullback. Very good. We're trying to break out here. So let's see, how much risk would that be? 15. I think I want to take that gold trade. So I'm going to take that gold trade. Let's see if we can get it. I would have to risk 15 points on that one. So ideally, let me just put my risk fit to 15. Let's see if we can get it. Because I want to risk, I don't want to risk off of this low. I want to risk here. For a value gap here, I'll probably have to get it a little higher. It might run away from me. If we're risking off of this low, then we could get it here. Let's see if we get it. All right, so 15 points of risk. And hopefully we break through. Hopefully it is a breakout. I'm just trading breakouts today, by the way. All right. Yeah. Oh, man. What is that? Is that news? Oh, we got the Fed speaking. Okay, so we have the Fed speaking. I didn't realize that. Started speaking a minute ago. Fed hammock. I didn't. 8:30, 10:30. What time is it? 10:15. Yeah, we got the New York Fed speaking. All right, that's the pullback we were looking for. It's just not clean, but I'm glad buyers stepped back in. So we're gonna add to that dip. Hopefully I didn't get stopped out on gold. Let's look at gold. That's why I wanted a wide stop. Where's gold? Okay, we didn't get stopped out. But yeah, I would rather risk off of here, this low than this low. But with Fed hammock, whatever his name is, it's gonna affect us. All right, ES. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq really taking off. So the Nasdaq is really the stronger of the two today, but we're pulling back. So we'll wait. We have a pretty good, pretty wide stop here on the ES. So maybe we retest these lows and we're able to reconquer it. But we'll see. Anyways, the opening range on the ES was, let's just look at the range. Let's just, actually, you know what? Let's look at it on a clean layout. Make this bigger. Opening range on the ES was, Justin, here's the box. 930 and 945. So this is the 15-minute opening range, right? And here we're still below the 50% area. So we're really trying to get the discount here. But if we can't reclaim this, so right here, and then we could make this an hourly opening range, 10:30. If we can't really reclaim this, which is what I'm hoping we could do. So this was our range. We opened. Actually, let me put this here. Where's 930? 930 is, yeah, right here. So this is the range, actually. This is the range. This is the range high. The 50% area is here. Okay, so we're trying to reclaim these highs, right? We didn't catch this dip, but we could probably add. Yeah, we could add right now. We'll mark it in. We're good. And then as we break, if we do break out, I'll probably add more and risk off of this low. So what we did was we pushed lower, obviously, went to the resistance level, and then we reclaimed that 50% area here. So hopefully we can start forming a structure, a bullish structure here, and go retest the prior highs. If that does happen, well, it makes our targeting like this. So first take profit could be right here around the 50% area here. And then second take profit could be around the highs, right? So that's what we're trying to get. That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to reconquer those previous highs. So we'll see if we can get that and if it works. So we have the ES pushing higher, which is good. So now we're risking off the lows. It's going to probably be 10 o'clock. So let's put the hourlies here. Yeah, that's looking good. So at this level here was probably the best entry, but wasn't looking at this, was looking at the Nasdaq. So now we want to find out, okay, can this be a real breakout? Remember, we have the speed of price, right? Remember, we have this area here that we still need to conquer. Right here. Let's just copy this. This is resistance. So we're entering what I would call, again, no man's land. So remember, let me just get this line out of the way. There's a lot of lines. But remember that, let me just put this like that. All right. In between these two gray lines, this one and here, right here, we are in this area of consolidation, right? So we need to be able to reclaim this area pretty decisively in order for this to be a real breakout. So we tried to break out here. There was resistance. We pulled back. We found support. Now we're pushing higher. So we want to be able to reclaim this decisively to move up, right? So let's see if we can get that and actually get our trade. Let's look at gold. Hopefully gold is working out. All right, our gold trade is starting to work. So almost a 2-to-1. 2-to-1 would be 30 points. Right here. Just below 4,800 would be a nice target. This one I'll probably hold longer term. So hold maybe overnight if it doesn't make the move I want. Don't always take gold trades. So we'll see. Depends on how it behaves. And let's look at the ES. So that's not what we want to see. You see, we got rejection here. Rejection above, right here above the range. So that's not what we want to see. So we'll wait. Still have a pretty wide stop. Sellers are definitely entering in that previous resistance area. So this whole zone right here is kind of our make or break zone, right? So let's wait and see. Sellers really trying to push. Remember to like, guys. Remember to like the stream. It really helps us out. That's a nasty, nasty wick here. I haven't looked at oil. All right, we're slowly reclaiming here. Looking good. That's definitely what we want to see. And let's look at our gold trade. All right. right, gold is looking good as well. So now it's a matter of just waiting. Gold target is going to be what we talked about. So let's go back to here. Previous area, we look left. We look at previous areas of resistance. So possible targets are this previous high. I'm targeting the 4800s more or less, right? Which is this prior area of resistance here, right? So this is going to be a longer term hold for me. We'll see what we get. 4800, yeah, 4800 is my target. It might, react a little bit lower, a little bit higher, but around this area is what I'm targeting. And it's just based on, the prior moves, the prior way we move. When we get those breakouts, those moves up on gold. If we measure from this open here, we'll see. Let's get an arrow going. Actually, there's a distance measuring thing tool here. Where is it? Oh, yeah. For about 49 points, right? And then here was probably the same. About 56 points. So if we measure from here, from those wicks, which is probably where people were going long, right above that 50% area, we'll see, okay, 4,800 is 54 points. So logically, around here is where most people would be taking profits, around the 50-point area. So 50 points from this low is 47.95. So they might front run it and start getting out at 47.90 more or less, of course, if this is sustained and pushes higher. So that's where we want to be getting out as well, right? So that would be a great trade. Let's wait. So around, my take profit is around 47.92. So 47.90 is more or less just before the 4,800s. That would be a 30-point win for us, which would be great. Let's go back to the ES. Let's see how our trade is doing. All right, looking good. So this is right now is just a matter of waiting and seeing if our trades can hold. Now, on the hourly, it's not looking very, very great for the ES because we're seeing some selling here, right? What I would like to see is possibly for shorts to get squeezed and then for a move up and a retest of that prior high. Since we're seeing a large amount of strength on the on the Nasdaq, what happened yesterday is we had initial strength on the ES, and then later on during the day, around 11 o'clock, we saw the strength come to the Nasdaq. So hopefully I'm early here on the ES, and we'll see kind of money flow into the S&P 500 later on during the day, and hopefully we could get a decisive move lower. So we'll see if we can get that. Right now, we're still trading inside the range. And we hopefully are able to get out of the range. All right, a lot of selling pressure here on the ES. Let me just see if there's news. We had the Fed speaking, which didn't help us, I think. U.S. to sanction Iraqi official over Iranian oil sales. So the U.S. plans to sanction Iraq's deputy oil minister. That was about a minute ago. Oh, sorry. Well, it's a matter of being patient now, guys. If we can't reclaim this, this level here decisively by, I would say, 11 o'clock, then the move's going to be to the downside. Now, we still have about an hour to go on the hourlies. 30 minutes to go before we close this hourly candle. So let's see what it does. What would be ideal is if we could get a pullback, a higher low here, then we could add to it and before we get the push higher. If not, then what we would do is lose this level and continue lower. So we'll see. I'm being open also to a liquidity sweep if it does happen. So pull higher, liquidity sweep here, and then we push higher there. But I definitely would rather just see strength and see a breakout and see us reclaim here instead of getting the pullback, right? That's what I want to see on the ES. All right, guys, ask away. Let me know your questions. Let me know what you want to know, what you're wondering. Let me know what you're trading. Let's just take a quick look at market internals. So gold holding, pulling back. Oil seems to be pushing higher. Well, that's not a great sign. Oil looking for a breakout here. Silver. Qs. All right, take a quick look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA pushing higher. Apple, Tesla, Microsoft. It looks like things might be turning. And Broadcom pushing higher. JBM is saying battle, quiet hands. Yeah. Things are getting muted here. We're not seeing the follow through that we expected. So we'll have to wait and be patient. Let me take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin pushing lower. What's the dollar doing? Okay, if the dollar pushes lower, that would be interesting for us. Dow trying to reclaim. All right. So this is where, patience might be key. When you're in a trade and then you're in profit, not in profit, in profit, not in profit. This is where you just wait. You have your stop set, you have your take profit set, and then you just wait. Because the outcome is not in your hands. It is in the hands of the market. Well, gold oscillating lower. So it might take longer for that trade to happen. It looked good for a while there. So the reclaim taking longer than expected. What are you trading, JPMA? What are you trading today? By the way, this take profit is very fluid, so this might oscillate and move if we do get what we're looking for. But so far, we're seeing selling. ES, always ES. Nice. What's your bias there? You short or long? And I don't mind if you guys fade me, by the way. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq pushing higher. Man, that was such a nice setup. Kind of beating myself that I missed it. But that was a nice setup. There were multiple entry points here, multiple take profit areas. So this is why I like to draw the boxes. So the setup was what? We formed the range, broke out, pulled back. Your entry was here, and then you went tested the prior highs. You got another pullback. Now you're testing the middle of the range, and you're looking to see, okay, can you get follow through and go test the upper end of that range? So we'll see. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. All right, our ES trade's starting to work. Hopefully that can hold and be sustained. Short, but sellers are lost. Are lost strongest. Okay. What do you get? Where are you getting your gamma gex levels from, by the way? Just out of curiosity. Few areas where sellers might re-enter, by the way. You might have here, prior level, and then sellers might re-enter here. So we'll find out. What I'm hoping for is a squeeze. Sorry, I know you're short, but I'm betting on a squeeze. Because of the strength I saw on the Nasdaq, I'm hoping that money rotates from tech into the S&P, and then we could just break higher. So if we can break from that area I've circled here, if we could break here, then we're good. Spot gamma. Okay, I've never heard of that. Let me check it out. Spot gamma. Nice. So I'm liking that engulfing candle we got on the hourlies. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. Hopefully we could just break higher. All right. And what's the highest node? What's the highest node you're getting right now? Because I use bar chart a lot and I have to convert it so it's not the exact level. Because it's showing yeah, we're 7,400 right now. All right, that's the breakout we're looking for. So hopefully we can get follow through. Now, for the ones that look at my opening range boxes, we're right at the area of resistance. So if sellers step back in, then we'll get a pullback. If not, then we will be able to move higher. So we'll see what we get. But here is a decisive area. Bulls trying to push. Oh, I got to update. All right, we'll update later. We don't want to update on stream. All right, so far this is working. Honestly, it's a waiting game now. This is where you just have to be patient. And trading with small size, this is for Greg, trading with smaller size allows you to be comfortable in these trades and wait and not bet the house on a single trade, right? So if I was trading too much size when we had those wicks here, it would have been harder to hold. Too much size in relation to the account, right? The more of a buffer you have, the more size you could take. Let's check out gold again. All right, gold back in profit. So hopefully we get that move up. But today, the trades are asking us to be really patient. And also the other tricky thing at the all-time highs is how do you determine, your next levels? Because right here we have a reference point. We can look left and find 7400, sorry, 7409 as a level. But once we break that barrier, then it becomes trickier. So you kind of have to use your best judgment to determine levels. And that's why, based on the opening range, I kind of try and determine, okay, where can we go next? And if I want to hold this overnight and I think it's going to go higher, then I use these references. Yesterday, we didn't have levels, right? So yesterday, if, for example, we go on the ES, where was it? Actually, let's do it on Nasdaq. It's going to be easier and quicker because I already have the levels. So yesterday, we didn't know where the Nasdaq was going to go. Where was it? Here, right? Right here. Yesterday, we didn't know how high or where the Nasdaq was going to go. So we used the opening range. We saw that we got about 100-point range. No, that wasn't yesterday. What was yesterday? That was yesterday. This was yesterday. All right. So we didn't know how high the Nasdaq was going to go. We had this as a reference, which was good. We pulled back. But once we broke that area, you know, all you do is kind of stack that opening range and you get references. And you could see it's pretty accurate once it works. Right here, our peak level was 27.97 and our highest box here was 28.793. Well, let's say 28.790. And right here it was 28.780. So we were about 10 points off. But that was a pretty good reference of where we might oscillate to, and we got there, and then we pulled back. So using those using the opening range as a reference can give you an idea of how high or how low we might go, right? Fortunately, we're pushing higher on the Nasdaq. Now we've moved really fast, right, on the Nasdaq. So we are bound to get a pullback eventually. And Greg, man, this was a nice trade. And Greg, this is what I was talking about when I talk about speed of price. You see how, you know, this was speed, this was probably running speed, and now we have sprinting speed. So this is bound to pull back eventually, which is kind of telling me, okay, we're accelerating on the ES, which is good. We broke this first area that I talked about. So the shorts are getting squeezed right now. And they're going to target these prior highs. So we're targeting this prior high to make it a... So basically, this trade is risk-free. My stop could go there. So we're risking about 10 points and trying to make a 1-to-1 here and then a 2-to-1 here, which would in all be about a 1.5 to 1 trade. So we're risking, I would say, so if we're risking 20 points, trying to make 27, 30 points. All in all, 1.5 to 1, more or less. That's on this this trade. All right, sellers are starting to enter. So we might get a pullback here. And then let's look at gold. All right, gold has not accelerated yet. Yeah, so you see how I told you guys this is the area we need to watch out for. This is where sellers are starting to enter. But I'm okay with taking a pullback here, possibly to this one of these areas and continuing higher. That's what I'm aiming for. And if we get that, then I would add to this trade and make it even an even more profitable trade. Of course, I'll have to see how the behavior is and if we can get that curl back up, because if it turns into a short, then it won't be what we were looking for. All right, guys, we have about 10 minutes to go. So let me know what you are looking at. I know JPMA said he's short the ES, so we'll see if that trade plays out. I don't know who's holding gold, who's trading oil. Let's take a look at oil again. Let's look at oil. Yeah, so oil trying to move up. Hopefully that's a false break. And we move back down. So we'll see, because if oil continues to push higher, which we kind of got here, you see that little move I had in mind, we test VWAP, it happened. Then we pull back from there. So we'll see. Gold, so far looking good. So let's see what we get, guys. Chat is quiet. Trying to break through, trying to break higher. We're not seeing it yet. All right, patience is starting to pay off. But we definitely need to break out of there decisively, right? So the question remains, can we break out of here? Because we are testing those prior, those prior highs, those prior resistance levels. So the question is, can we break out of here? We'll see what we can get. JPMA saying no more shorts, quick scalp until 74.10. 74.10. All right, nice. That's the area I'm targeting. We could put it higher though. Actually, let me just take the same area as you, 74.10. That would be 15 points. Looks good. Let's see if we can get that. Actually, I want 15 points exactly. I don't need 15.13. Yeah, we'll do there. 74.09, right before 74.10. So let's see if we can get that, boys and gals. You change your mind, 74.06. What's going on there? You're having paper hands, or is the GEX chart telling you something? Because I'm not looking at the gamma levels, so maybe you're seeing something I'm not seeing. We're about 6 minutes from 11 o'clock, and that's going to be decisive. So once that hourly's open, we'll find out, if we're going to get rejection and a pullback, or if we're going to get follow through to the upside. So we'll see. I'd like to get this one on stream. This way you guys could see us get one take profit. Let's see if we get it. Must break 74.10, I think. Yeah, for it to be truly bullish, we need to break it. But that's a pretty good, pretty nice hourly engulfing candle. So so far it's looking good. We don't want to see a massive amount of sellers enter, because we are definitely at a liquidity area. This whole area here, above that area, is a liquidity area. That's why I moved this a little bit lower. I had it at 13 points, but I'm being greedy today. We're trying to get an extra point. Let me look at S&Ps. I have about a 10-minute delay on these levels, but I've seen the 7,400 level grow on the exposure. And then after that, the next level is 7,425. So looking good there. We're almost at the sorry, almost at the take profit level. We are where it was previously because we had it at 13 points. But let's wait. Let's see if we can get one last push to take me out. While this is cooking, let's look at gold really quickly. Hopefully gold is pushing higher. All right, gold is pushing higher, pushing steadily. We're about almost 10 points in profit, so that's good. Looking. Hero change your mind? Okay. I respect that. So you're seeing the flow in an opposite direction? I think JPMA has insider information he's not telling us. You have insider info, JPMA. Isn't it fun when you're really close to your take profit and then it doesn't want to get there? 1 minute to go before 11 o'clock. Do we get it? Do we get it or not, guys and gals? Are we going to get it? Is it going to hit our take profit? About 30 seconds to go before that 1 hour candle opens. Well, that one closes. So let's see. We're so close. We are a tick away. No, I'm not closing it manually. Discipline. Hands off the chart. Hands off the chart. We're going to get it or it's just going to pull back. This is for your entertainment. Are you not entertained? All right, we got 10 seconds to go. It's so close, guys. It's so close. You see? That's why I don't touch it. I let it get there. I don't always do that, but I had a good feeling we were going to get it. So we didn't close manually, Justin. Woohoo! We got it. So now what I'll usually do is I'll go break even because we got what I call the payroll, right? So we got paid for a trade. We got paid for our work. And here, you know, we can expect a pullback. But I'm not going to move this to break even today. I'm just going to wait and see if I can add possibly to this trade, depending on how this behaves, right? So this is now a free trade. And unfortunately, it is the end of the stream. But remember, I said this was probably going to be an area of concern. So I'll look at how the price moves here and kind of determine what I want to do next. But we got paid. We're profitable. Let's look at gold. So this is, I'm expecting a pullback here. Let's look at gold really quickly. All right, gold is acting right. So all in all, nice green day. You know, slow moving charts, but we got it. I got it with you guys live on stream, and I wish you a great rest of your week. I will see you next week, same time. Be back. Have a good weekend, and I wish you all the best, guys. So see you soon.